Jungkook looked at his men sharply. No one spoke up, no one answered. All of them were standing frozen in their positions by the presence of Jungkook's aura of power and anger. They know what was coming next. They all wanted to disappear of their lives. They had seen their leader's anger before. But this was different. Jungkook was not usually so violent and aggressive about it. He only lost it when he felt threatened or angry. Jungkook yelled, a shiver ran through his body as a wave of dark energy radiated outwards. The man cowered, terrified of even breathing. They sat collectively, shaking and cowering. They never got a chance to say anything else because their voices were drowned out by Jungkook yells. Before the man could complete, Jungkook gave him a sharp look. His man gulped and shuffled back to his position. Jungkook sighed. And with those parroting words, Jungkook turned around, sculled off to the other end of the office, and slumped down onto a leather couch. He let his head fall backward until he was lying down, staring at the ceiling. This happened frequently these days, when stress level got high, when a mission took longer than expected, when someone didn't manage to deliver the result, when something went that no one anticipated. It happened more often than now, and Jungkook hated it. The feeling of helpless and not being able to stop anything or fix things, knowing there was nothing he could do to fix everything. Ryan glanced at the wall clock once again and got up. She whispered and went to the kitchen forgetting heat the dinner. Soon she heated the food and started preparing Jungkook's favorite smoothie with honey as he always asked her to. Ryan was so into her work she didn't even notice when Jungkook came back. Once the man saw what she was doing, he quietly walked in before Ryan could turn around to see him. Jungkook immediately hugged her from behind. She smiled. He sat and kissed her cheek before forced himself to smile before nodding his head. Ryan looked at him and frowned. She asked. Jungkook nodded and tried to keep his smile plastered on his face. They had been together for a few months now, but she knew whenever he got hurt, sad, and disturbed. Jungkook had core personality. He didn't know how to express himself and his love for YN, but he always tried to best to show her his best side. He wanted nothing more than to protect her and to make sure nobody would hurt her. YN told him and gave him a small kiss on his lips. Jungkook smiled and went to get fresh. Soon both of them shaded across each other and started having dinner. Ryan frowned when she saw him not touching his food. She asked she hated seeing Jungkook hurting, but she also knew that there were some things that they shouldn't talk about out loud because others might try to use them against Jungkook. He answered with a slight nod. Ryan sighed and continued eating. After a few moments, Jungkook's phone buzzed with a message popping up. She watched with amusement as he frowned and picked his phone up to read the message. He gritted his teeth and placed the phone back in rage. Ryan asked as she held his hand. Jungkook nodded quickly and took a deep breath, composing himself. He still wasn't good with controlling his anger. He said apologetically and left, leaving Ryan confused but understanding why he needed to go. Ryan came out of the bathroom after having a shower. She sighed and took her phone, was about to call Jungkook. Before she could call him, though, the door opened and closed. She put down her phone and turned towards the voice. and was surprised to find her husband walking towards her. His hair was wet, probably from the exercise. He exercised whenever he felt angry and disappointed. Ryan took her step close to him and gently placed her hand on Jungkook's cheek. She cooked and kissed his temple. She wrapped her arms around him and pressed herself into his chest. Jungkook leaned his head over her shoulder and breathed deeply. Ryan sat and kissed his neck. Jungkook hummed contentedly but did not say anything and kept hugging her. Jungkook broke the hug and looked into her eyes. He sat and pulled her close to him and kissed her forehead. Ryan rested her hand over his chest and let him hold her tight. Ryan pulled out from her and placed her lips Jungkook's and started kissing him softly. Jungkook placed his hand over her waist and pulled her more closer. Ryan smiled and slowly moved her hands over Jungkook's torso and lower. His breath hitched and he shivered in pleasure under her touch. Ryan smiled. Jungkook pushed her over the wall with full pressure, making her gasp. He kissed along her jawline and down to curve of her throat, biting gently, tasting her skin. Ryan bit her lips to contain her mouth while grabbing Jungkook's hair. Suddenly, Ryan gasped when he looked at her with love and affection. He said with gentle smile. Ryan blushed. He mumbled. Ryan blushed harder and smiled shyly. Jungkook kissed her lips softly before pulling away. Ryan nodded and smiled at Jungkook. Jungkook placed his head on Ryan's chest and snuggled into it. She had wrapped her arms around him, playing with his hair gently. After a few minutes, Ryan yawned and kissed Jungkook's head before pulling back. Ryan said with a sweet tune before she started to drift off to sleep. Jungkook looked at her face and smiled gently. And then he was alone again. He stayed like this till he fell asleep with Ryan. Jungkook loved her more than anything in this world. Her warmth and softness were his whole world. Even when they fought or fought again, he still couldn't help but love her. He was sure about that one fact. If the world ended and if he died tomorrow, Ryan would still be here. That thought alone made Jungkook feel secure.